Carmen Colon was 10 years old. Her body was found in Riga, New York, on November 18, 1971. Carmen lived in Churchville. Both names begin with the letter C. That detail, the matching initials, might have been a coincidence if it had happened once. It did not happen once. Wanda Walkowicz was 11. She disappeared from Rochester on April 2, 1972. Her body was recovered in Webster, New York. W&W. 7 months later, Michelle Maenza, also 11, vanished from Rochester on November 26, 1973. She was found in Macedon. M&M. 3 girls. 3 matched pairs of initials. All found within 18 miles of each other. None of the men investigators questioned was ever convicted. Carmen had been reported missing on November 16, 1971, after she failed to return from a pharmacy errand in Churchville. A witness reported seeing a young girl matching her description running along a road, partially undressed, as though fleeing a vehicle. The witness reported this. The car did not stop. Carmen was found 2 days later in a culvert off Stiens Road in Riga. She had been sexually assaulted. She was fully dressed when found. The medical examiner determined she had died from asphyxiation. When Wanda Walkowicz disappeared the following April, the geographic logic of the first case had not yet been formally noticed. Wanda had gone to a grocery store near her Rochester home. She did not return. Her body was found on April 3, 1972, the following day in Webster, along a rural road. The cause of death was the same. The manner of assault was consistent with what had been done to Carmen. Investigators from Monroe County began to treat the 2 cases as connected. By the time Michelle Maenza disappeared in late November 1973, the pattern had a name. Local media had begun calling them the alphabet murders, and in some coverage, the double initial murders. Michelle had last been seen near a McDonald's restaurant in Rochester. Her body was found several days later near Macedon in Wayne County. She had been sexually assaulted. She had been strangled. She was the 3rd girl in the 3rd matched location within a corridor of farmland and secondary roads stretching east of Rochester through Monroe and Wayne counties. Law enforcement canvassed extensively. Tip lines generated hundreds of leads. The Monroe County District Attorney's Office coordinated with state police across multiple years. Investigators developed profiles and pursued persons of interest. The physical evidence recovered at the scenes was limited. No weapon was recovered that could be conclusively linked to a suspect. No single individual emerged from the evidence who could be charged. One name, however, stayed in the record. Kenneth Bianchi had grown up in Rochester. He was in the area during the period of all 3 murders. In 1979, Bianchi was arrested in Washington state and ultimately convicted, along with his cousin Angelo Buono, of murders committed in Los Angeles and surrounding areas. The killings that became known as the Hillside Strangler cases. The method in those murders, the strangulation, the sexual assault, the disposal of bodies along roadsides, bore structural similarities to what had been done in Rochester. Investigators went back. They examined Bianchi's movements, his employment history, and his documented presence in Monroe County during 1971, 1972, and 1973. They interviewed people who had known him then. Bianchi himself was questioned. He denied involvement. The Monroe County District Attorney's Office reviewed the cases and their connection to Bianchi more than once over the following decades. No sufficient evidence was found to support charges. The cases remained open. Bianchi was never charged in connection with the deaths of Carmen Colon, Wanda Walkowicz, or Michelle Maenza. There were other persons of interest over the years. Some were investigated seriously. Some were brought in for questioning more than once. No prosecution followed. The physical evidence that had been collected at the original scenes became the subject of renewed forensic attention as DNA technology developed in the 1990s and 2000s. Monroe County investigators and the New York State Police revisited the biological material. What those reviews yielded has not, as of the public record, been sufficient to identify and charge a perpetrator. The witness who reported seeing a girl running from a vehicle on the day Carmen disappeared was never able to provide information that led to an identification. That account, a child partially clothed, a moving car, a road in November, was documented. It remained in the file. It went nowhere. The car was never identified. The driver was never named. In 2017, the cases received renewed public attention when Monroe County officials confirmed that DNA analysis had been conducted on evidence from at least one of the scenes. The results were not made public in a form that advanced a prosecution. The file did not close. No arrest followed. The cases remain, in the official language of Monroe County, unsolved. 3 girls from the same region, taken within 2 years of each other, found in locations whose names matched their own. The precision of that pattern, the way it holds, the way it repeats across 1971, 1972, and 1973, is either the signature of a single individual or the most sustained coincidence in the history of Monroe County. Investigators have consistently treated it as the former. No one has ever been made to answer for it. Carmen Colon would be in her early 60s now. So would Wanda Walkowicz. So would Michelle Maenza. Somewhere in the record, in the evidence logs, the interview transcripts, the forensic reports that have never been made fully public, there is almost certainly a detail that connects these 3 cases to a specific person. The question that remains is not whether that detail exists. The question is whether it will ever be read by someone with the authority to act on it.